Hey everyone, happy Friday. Welcome to Finance Friday. This is the show where we transform your relationship with your money by giving you the information you need to grow and protect your wealth. I'm Amy Novakovic, CEO and co-founder of Nova Wealth Management. Follow me on Twitter at Novakovic Amy, and also follow us on Instagram at Nova Wealth Management, and YouTube. Subscribe there. We have all kinds of videos. We will also post this interview to our podcast, The Nova Wealth Show. It's on iTunes. We'll put it on the Wooditch Network. The video version will be on the Wooditch Network as well. So check that out. I have the pleasure of interviewing the youngest person I've ever interviewed on Finance Friday, but also one of the most inspirational and motivational human beings I've met, because he is 20 and is now running 4 companies between real estate, photography, 4 completely different types of companies, and on the way to managing his 5th. Been here his whole life, so he's going to talk about what went into that decision process of becoming more a business owner rather than going the traditional route of college. I'm so happy to have Blake Cathey here. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Of course. No, thank you guys for having me again. My name is Blake Michael Cathey. I'm a real estate entrepreneur and serial entrepreneur now here in Naples, Florida. And it is definitely a pleasure working alongside Nova Wealth Management. They've helped me a lot. And I'm just really excited to be here.
Awesome. I'm super excited. So typically, forgive me if I call you a kid, because you're not a kid.
No worries.
But typically, people your age go high school, and then they go straight into college.
Yeah.
Walk us through that decision, because you told me I don't know if it's funny. Your parents probably don't think it's funny, but a story about when you went to an orientation.
Yeah.
And so walk us through that.
Right. So, my entire life I had intended on going to college. I was originally planning on going for architecture and was super excited for that. But then plans changed. I got into real estate, early in high school. Actually, I was not really interning, but assisting somebody, and I was really
Is that
really
where your passion? So you found a passion.
Yeah, my passion was real estate. My passion was, the architecture of homes, actual physical
Oh,
homes,
okay.
building homes, things like
Got
that.
it.
But I was really good at selling. So I kind of mixed my gift with my passion and, got into real estate. So,
In high school?
In high school, yeah.
See, that is so crazy. I feel like in high school, who finds their passion in high school? Does anybody find their passion in high school? Seriously, it's just so crazy to me. Anyways, go on. I'm sorry.
No worries. And a lot of people think it's going to change over time. I don't think it's going to change. I love what I do. So, so what I did was I was originally planning on doing that. Then I changed kind of my plan. I really wanted to get into real estate, but my parents always suggested that I go to college, as most do. Naturally, of course. So
those of us parents and grandparents watching would probably agree, but yeah.
Absolutely. So I attended orientation at Florida Gulf Coast University. I was planning on going there. Orientation took 2 days, and it was the worst 2 days of my life. And I came home immediately. I was, about to break down in tears with my parents and just telling them, I can't do this. I cannot go to college.
Were you scared to tell them?
Oh, I was frightened.
I'm going to share this out right now.
No worries.
Oh my gosh.
I was driving home from Fort Myers.
Who were you more afraid of, your mom or your dad?
Dad, for sure.
Really?
Dad, for sure. Yep. Yeah. My mom is always, she cares. She's compassionate, but I figured my dad was not going to take it very easily. And so it was definitely, it was a challenge. But no, so I came home and I talked to my mom first.
Okay.
Because I knew that would be a little bit easier.
Go over a little bit.
And her response was, "You're not going to tell me anymore. You're going to wait until your dad's home."
Oh, no.
So then I got really, really nervous. And so that night my dad came home and we all sat down and talked, and it took a little bit, but they were understanding. And I think they finally realized that, you don't need the college degree to get to certain levels of success.
Right. And that's true.
And to attain, certain levels in certain businesses. Obviously there's some businesses that need or require college degrees, doctors, lawyers, things like that. But, for something like real estate, for something like finance, it's not always so common anymore that you need that degree.
Well, in finance, it's more about your licenses, your certifications.
Exactly.
Obviously, I have a finance degree, but I don't think anybody's ever asked me, I say this all the time, for my degree. They ask for, your CFP, your CRPC, they ask, are you licensed? This stuff, but they don't ask for the degree.
Mm-hmm. I've been on hundreds of listing appointments, buyer appointments, and not one of them has ever said, "Hey, can I see your, degree in business, degree in real estate?" People just don't require it anymore. A lot of businesses still like to see it, but for something like this, it's just not required. So
how old were you when you got your real estate license then?
I got it right after I graduated high school at 18 years old.
You're 18.
Yes.
And you said you bought your first condo at 18.
I bought my first condo right before I turned 18. Yes.
Okay.
So it was definitely, I moved very quickly, and that was all kind of part of
Inspirational.
the, if I'm not going to go to college, I can't live at home for free. So what am I going to do to make, the most out of the money that I had at that time?
Yeah.
And so for me, it was buying a condo, and creating that independence from my family. And I think that's one of the biggest things that people decide, if I don't go to college, I'm not creating the independence from my family. And that's one of the reasons they go to school.
Oh, that's good.
So if they don't go to school, I can't create the independence. Well, I said, you know what, if I don't go to school, how can I create that independence? How can I
be more independent?
Exactly. So I decided to go out, buy a condo, and, start paying a mortgage instead of rent.
So did you have a job when you went and bought this condo? Like you're fresh out of high school.
Right. No, I had the job. And so typically what happens is we have something, and because I'm in real estate, I do know this, where you can get a co-signer on a condo.
Right. Okay.
And it makes it a lot easier. And so obviously at 18 years old, no bank was going to approve me to purchase a condo. So
right. Don't even have a credit score.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I did not have a credit score at the time. So part of my deal with
guys, share this out for anybody that needs to know this information, because how many people, I get this question all the time, like, how can my child build credit? Or how can I get this all the time? And you went and bought a condo at 18 without credit. So your parents co-signed?
So my parents co-signed. And so one of the things I had to do was I had to get a credit card. Otherwise I would have bought it sooner. And so I had to get a credit card. So I built up a little bit of credit, enough to where I think the co-signer still has to have a minimum, but it's not crazy. Right. It's like $550, $600.
Right.
So I had my father co-sign on it, and that helped me out a lot. And it was part of my deal with them. I worked out something where, I'm not going to go to college, but I'm still going to create the independence.
Yeah.
And so my mom was always worried about, well, how are you going to learn? And so what I told her nowadays is, and a lot of people don't know this, is there's a lot of courses and things online that you can take that really help get you there.
I think people know that, but I don't think people realize that that's actually enough.
Yeah, exactly.
I think people still feel I need the education.
Right.
I mean, I know I did. I was working in the bank. I already had the job, but I felt like there's got to be something more that I need to know that I could learn from college. And in your case, there wasn't. You said you took a 10-day real estate? Yeah,
so real estate's a 10-day course, and ultimately they don't teach you how to sell real estate. They don't teach you how to work with buyers. All they ultimately teach you is, how to stay out of jail is what I always tell people. They tell you what to do, what not to do to get in trouble. And so it makes it very tough.
How to stay legal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so really you're shot out of a 10-day course, and you have absolutely no guidance. Luckily for me, I had worked underneath someone for a couple of years. So I kind of knew the ropes in real estate and how to kind of get that first client.
Experience is so valuable, guys. Seriously, if your child or if you yourself is debating on whether you should go back to school, I mean, I seriously think experience goes so far.
And I think at a young age too, it's easy when you don't have to pay the bills. I mean, when I was 15, my thought process was I wanted to get in front of someone who was successful, and I didn't care about getting paid. I didn't care about, what kind of job it was. All I cared about was I wanted to listen to them. I wanted to hear how they talk.
And you knew this at 15? What did your parents instill in you? Tell me what I need to tell my kids to get you. So you were thinking business-minded. You were thinking like a business owner, let's say it that way, when you were 15. So did you get this from your parents? Did you get this from your your two older siblings? Where did you find that drive, do you think?
I think a mixture of it. I think it's a mixture of both my parents and what I just kind of researched on my own. So my parents did do a very good job of instilling, independence, instilling the idea that, as soon as you're 15, 16 years old, you're getting a job.
You're getting a job. Okay.
The bills start to come on you. And they were very helpful. And I tell people that all the time. I don't take anything away from that. They helped me a lot, both financially and just, as, growing up. But they also
not anything extravagant, not anything that any parent would pay for a college degree.
Right, exactly.
It's the same cash outlay.
Exactly.
Probably.
And so it was a lot of just, go out there and learn things on your own. And that's what they taught me to do. And so that's what I did. And so, Google was a big part of the success for me. And I think
we talk about Google a lot on this.
Yeah, Google's the best. And so I just kind of Google every time. What I would do is I would go into the office. I would listen to the lady I was working with, and I would take everything she said. I'd write it down, and I would go home and I would Google it, and I would learn everything about it.
Yeah.
And so that helped me a lot to really, build my knowledge, because as I've seen in, the years I've been doing this, that knowledge is power.
Yeah.
And if you know everything, you can,
But
stay in
isn't it
conversation.
dangerous to get your information like off the internet? Like, so how did you know that you weren't learning the wrong thing for you?
And it's tough. I just kind of, I went on Google and I would always,
I guess you were
read
learning
many
from
different
someone
articles.
like in person.
Exactly. And so I would, I'd go home and Google it. And the reason I did that was I wanted to make sure if I was going to ask a question,
Yeah.
it wasn't going to be a stupid question.
Okay.
I didn't want to waste
that's fair.
anybody's time. So I would, go home. I'd try to learn it on my own. And if I did, great. But if not, then I would go back and say, hey, I was trying to understand this. I couldn't, what is this? What is this that I need to learn?
So is that what you did to get into your other businesses? Because now you're branching out into businesses that have nothing to do with real estate.
Yeah.
I mean, so how do you get into a photography business?
So ultimately, I learned the power of referrals and outsourcing.
Oh, and relationships, building relationships.
Building
Got
relationships.
Yep.
So what I did is I built relationships with people that were really good at things, but weren't really good at, running an actual business.
Okay.
And so
so that's what you offer.
Exactly. So I partner with them and I offer them like, listen,
Got it.
I've learned this even in my young age, what to do in certain situations. Let me partner with you. Let's work on this together and build your business while also, giving me a piece of the pie.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people have liked that. I've helped a lot of people, kind of.
Because that's
take
one of
their
your
business
businesses
in
too, is coaching.
Yes, now
like
it is.
coaching young entrepreneurs.
Absolutely. So I just started doing that not too long ago. I kind of
I think
announced
everything
it.
you started doing is not
Right,
too long
exactly.
ago.
Well, for me, long, like a year is
Yeah,
the
a
longest
year is
time.
pretty long.
It's super long for me. So, I started doing that and it's really kicked off. I added 2 new coaching clients this month. So I'm taking a break until January, and then January I'm going to be adding a lot more.
And you're coaching on the business side, like just in general, how to run a business, how to get clients, like in general.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I coach a lot of, people in real estate that are trying to get started. People who, one of mine is a wholesaler, one of my clients, the other one is a social media marketer.
Okay.
So just teaching them how to acquire more clients and build the relationships as they go, because that is one of the biggest things.
So being a what are you, Gen Y?
I think I'm a Gen
Z.
Yeah.
Gen Z. So you've only ever known social media, really?
Correct. Yeah.
So building a business today,
Mhm.
do you feel like you 100% you need social media?
Absolutely.
Okay.
No,
I was just curious about that because
absolutely.
like up until 2 years ago, we didn't use any social media to build our business.
A third of the world is on Facebook. So if you're not on Facebook, then
well, okay.
You're
When you say it like that.
Exactly. So that's kind of always been my thing. Facebook. I had Instagram, like you said. I've been on my whole life.
Instagram probably like 10 years old, right?
12 years old or something. So.
Oh my gosh, is this not nuts? Like, for those of you just joining us, by the way, I'm here interviewing Blake Cathey. We're talking about anything he's doing in the entrepreneur world. He's got 4 companies, building a 5th company. So we're just talking about why he took this route and how he got into it. So now back to building your other businesses. Mm-hmm. So you've got coaching, you've got in photography, you got in real estate, and then you've got contracting, like a development.
Yeah.
How do you do time management? Like
Yeah, and time management, I used to be very strict on it. I've become less strict, and I'm actually working on becoming more strict again because it's becoming a little bit overwhelming now.
Okay.
And it's definitely become tough.
Yeah. Well, you've got people in each company, right, that are helping you. So you're kind of, like you said, outsourcing it or whatever. Yeah. But at some point, you do have to start learning like those time management skills, juggling all this stuff. You're probably way more into technology. Can you give us a little, this is really random, so if you can't think of one, no problem. I'm totally putting him on the spot right now. But anything technology-wise, like that we may not know, like something technology-wise that you use or something simple that helps you run your companies, like in technology that...
So for the photography company, we use a Google Calendar.
Okay,
and
so you do use like Google Docs, Google Calendars.
Google Calendars are awesome because I can go on there and I handle, I have 2 partners in the photography company. One handles kind of the managerial aspect.
Yeah.
The other one handles the finances, and then I handle all the scheduling and kind of the sales aspect of it.
Got it.
What I'm able to do is I'm able to go on there, schedule things. My finance guy can go on, look at the schedule, see what my photographer is doing, send out the invoice for it, and then my photographer has access to the calendar, so I don't have to call him every time we schedule a shoot. He's looking at it all day, every day.
Wow.
So that is a huge tool that makes it so much easier.
And that's
for
free,
us.
right?
Yeah, Google Calendars are free.
Nice.
So I mean, use it to your
You
advantage.
got Google Calendar, Google Email, Google
Docs.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Google Docs are big as well. I don't use them as much, but it's definitely, depending on the kind of business you're in, it can be a very good tool.
So, okay, I'm going to shift gears again because this is so interesting. So, for your friends, all your friends that like go to college and have college degrees, do they look at you like you're absolutely crazy? Or because they might, I feel like I run into a lot of people today and actually comment, give me a thumbs up, whatever, if you're saving for your kids' college because you plan on paying for it, right? I feel like the mindset today is not only all kids are going to go to college, but the parents are going to pay for it. Where I paid for my own schooling with, I had student loans and I'm paying them off and everything, and I didn't get assistance. My dad wanted me to work to pay for it, which is totally fine. I'm very thankful because now I'm in finance and I understand money. But the mindset today is to pay for the kids' college. So do your friends that are going to college and might even have their parents paying for their college look at you like you're crazy? Like, what are the conversations that you have?
At first, it was, you're crazy, you're nuts, I can't believe you're doing this.
Okay.
When I first got into it, they were like, no, just come to college, it's gonna
Party.
be really, yeah, exactly. It's gonna be a really good time. And,
don't be an adult yet.
right, you're not gonna learn anything, but you're gonna have a whole lot of fun. So that kind of turned me off from it, honestly, because that originally, I mean, that was I had the business side of it already because I had started so young. So when they were I had already gotten over that hump of, forget all the high school parties and things like that. I'm focused on business.
Yeah.
Now it was come back and do the college, life. And I just, it never really attracted me.
It just didn't appeal to me.
I lost a lot of friends because I made that choice.
Probably.
But I also gained a lot of really good business relationships that will last me way longer than a friend in college will do.
You're probably super inspiring to other people your age that are like, I did want to do that, but my parents said I needed to go to college. And you're like, well, I had that conversation.
Yeah, exactly. And it helps me because I'm able to talk to them a lot about it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pressure because I've actually had people who tell me every day, they'll drop out of college and come work with me and things like that.
Ooh,
and it definitely gets scary. I don't.
And you
like
don't
to make
want
promises to
you don't
people.
want their parents calling.
Right.
Like,
I don't
Blake,
get any calls from parents.
why'd you take my kid out of college?
Exactly. So I mean, but
oh my goodness.
To each their own, and I think it's it's really a good thing. So.
Good. So again, if you're just joining us, Blake Cathey, we're here talking about just his journey to being an entrepreneur at 20 years old and just turned 20. When did you turn 20?
I just turned 20 in October.
October. Seriously. I mean, this is crazy to me because we're just talking about the normal route is to go to college and schooling, and he avoided that route. So do you think that as you're growing your companies, your goals are different, have to be different really from other people? Do you have, by the time you're 25, let's document it right now, Blake on Finance Friday on November 30th, whatever it is, 2018. What is your 5-year goal? Where do you see yourself at 25?
Ultimately, I mean, I've never really thought at 25. My goal has always been by 30. I want to own enough property and have enough coaching clients that I no longer have to truly work in real estate. I still would like to, develop and do deals like that, but I don't want to have to be going after the business.
Got it.
And that's my plan by 30. So that gives me, now 10 years.
So that's technically to build passive income.
Exactly.
So you would be financially
passive income.
Free.
Yep.
Because you wouldn't have to go out and get more. You already have all your assets are producing income.
And so I think a big mistake a lot of people make when it comes to passive income is they don't really know what passive income is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
And so they assume
why don't you explain your version of passive income to those that
my
may not
version
know?
of passive income is pretty simple. If you have to do anything in order to make the money, it's not passive.
It's active.
So I mean, every time I've created a business, I've always, jumped into it going, oh, this is going to be passive income. And then I'm sitting there for hours every single day working on it going, this is not passive. And, down the road when you hire people at that point, maybe it becomes passive. But to me, truly, the only way to achieve passive income is by buying real estate. There's no other way.
Yeah. But you're already putting money away. For those of you, if you're wondering, should I be putting money away? But I mean, Blake is already putting his money away, putting money aside because you understand that you also need diversification too.
Exactly.
It can't just all be real estate or it can't just all be business. Because a lot of people, and I know people viewing this too, believe if I'm just pumping my money back in my business, that I'm technically, that's my retirement plan. Yeah. But really, you're not diversifying yourself. It's just one business.
Exactly.
So you have multiple businesses. You're looking for multiple ways to build real estate. Let me ask you this about real estate. So are you planning on flipping properties, or you're planning on buying things that you can rent out, or you're just trying to appreciate? What's your plan with real estate? Where do you see the opportunity?
I don't preferably love the idea of flipping property.
Okay.
It's never really excited me a whole lot. I think there's a lot of risk involved in it.
Okay.
A project here or there, if it's a no-brainer, then I would absolutely jump on it.
The timing probably has to be pretty right?
Yeah, of course.
In order for you to buy at a certain price and
you
put
have
money
to really,
into it.
exactly. You have to really know. A lot of people want to get involved in it because they see the sexy side of it on HGTV.
Yeah.
And so it always looks way more
course.
attractive than it is, but ultimately it's not.
Aw.
It never goes that way.
You have a fan watching.
There we go. But I think that, it's definitely, it's not as productive as buying property and holding it. So that's my long-term goal is I want to hold property. By the end of this year, I'm hoping to have 4 units that I own.
Wow.
And so then renting those out and then, adding on to that every year. It gets easier to get more as you go.
Along.
But being only now 20 years old, it's hard to really get those units the first couple of ones because it's hard to get banks to approve you and things like that. But ultimately that's my goal is to hold property and to rent them out for, a good amount of profit every single month.
So you don't mind being a landlord?
I do not, but I also have a great property management company that I'll be using in the future.
So you have a management company?
Yeah, I don't own it.
So you're really subcontracting like a lot out?
Absolutely, yeah.
Wow, that's totally interesting.
And that's always been kind of my key for all business people out there, whether you're in, Southwest Florida, whether you're in North Dakota, it doesn't matter. Is, the subcontracting business and the referral business are 2 things that you can truly make, a lot of more passive income. Not
you take a hit at first, right? So a lot of business owners out there, no matter what business, always find that pressure point of, ooh, I have enough work that I'm slammed.
Yep.
I don't know if I want to hire somebody.
Exactly.
But you seem like you have no fear in subcontracting things out. So you didn't hit that pressure point?
Honestly, I never did it.
Would rather.
I never did it myself. I have a buddy of mine actually who owns a company, and so his company is based strictly off relationships.
Okay.
And so his fear is he's going to hire someone, and people are going to leave because the employee is not him.
Right.
So what I've always done is gotten an employee right off the start and sold them on the employee before selling them on me. And so that's where
there's a little nugget right there.
So there's
so you're hiring them from the get-go.
Right.
Okay, so then what's to prevent the employees that you hire from just taking their business and going out on their own? I mean, I'm sure so you're paying them really well, like you're doing what you can to keep them sticking around.
Of course, it becomes tough. You've got to keep them happy.
Yeah.
And so that's where it is important to take care of your employees. And I had this conversation. I actually just had it with 2 of my partners. Is that
no kidding.
You have to take care of them, regardless what you think of them outside of work, regardless what you think about them at all. Is when they're, doing a good job, no matter where not everybody thinks the same. Mm-hmm. And so that's always been the hard part is.
Well, that's a struggle in business always is that you've got too many talking heads thinking or egos in a room thinking, different things, and then it blows up.
And I think that's what's hard a lot of times is I look at it from a perspective of, okay, I hired this guy. He doesn't think like me. I'm hiring him because he has a really good talent.
So
but if he thought like me, he would have his own business.
Right.
So it's definitely, you got to find people, and it's not easy, but you have to find people with a lot of talent but are missing that kind of key business part.
Yeah.
And just be able to collaborate with them without,
And you're just using your connections and your relationships to find these people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like, because you're not putting an ad out on Craigslist saying, I'm hiring, like you're just hiring people that you know.
Exactly. So I'm always, and I know.
That you already know and trust.
Yep. So I'm very big on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Connect with a lot of people on there.
Got it.
Talk to a lot of people through that. That's really big for business owners, in my opinion.
Yeah.
To have a really good LinkedIn.
Yeah, Blake and I were talking about, there's one of his close friends apparently and business partners that a long time ago had reached out to me on LinkedIn.
Yep.
Super young kid running a car detailing business. Yep. And I remember him because I was so taken back by like a 16-year-old reaching out to me on LinkedIn. It was like, I'm trying to build my business. I'm like, what?
Exactly.
And so he turns out to be your friend.
Yes. And he's made a lot of money with that business and strictly because of the relationships. I mean, he's built relationships with
on LinkedIn. Is he going to college?
No, he never went to college.
Oh my gosh. That is just so crazy to me.
No, and it's
I graduated high school early to get to college. You know? Oh my goodness. Okay, last question, and then we're gonna have to wrap it up because both of us, we have another obligation.
Yes.
So last question. So for all the business owners out there listening, so what would be a piece of advice that you can give them if they've been stuck in that rut? I actually ask this question a lot to any business owner that I interview, and I'm curious what your answer would be in comparison to the other business owners that I've interviewed. But so business owners out there, a lot of times they hit this ceiling or they hit this rut, whether they're in multi-level marketing, no matter what it is, or they're in a business that they're self-employed or they have employees. They hit that, I'm just struggling.
Right.
And how do you get past to the next point to take your business to the next level? It's kind of a broad question, but what would you recommend to people to go out there and take their business to the next level?
So two things I usually recommend to people who, really they can't figure out what they want to do is always experiment. Try and find a few, and I say this every time I publicly speak, is find a few things that make you
publicly speak to. Is that a sixth business? Blake?
It's not a business yet, but it's definitely something I enjoy
Public
doing.
Speaker.
But no, find a few things that make you a good amount of money that you're passionate about and that you're really good at. Do every single one of them. And then after a little while, evaluate each of those things and figure out what's making you the most amount of money in the least amount of time. You already enjoy them. Otherwise, you wouldn't have chosen to do them. And then pick those couple of things and just roll with them. And so that's the biggest thing. And then meanwhile, while you're doing that, build the relationships with people. Nobody's ever going to turn you down. Go to networking events. Go, reach out to people on LinkedIn. Find the connection that you need. Don't be afraid to ask for it. And don't look for the financial return right away. The long-term financial return from these kind of people is way
people want
more
things
beneficial.
right away though.
Yes.
Because that's the struggle that I have in helping people financial plan is they want the immediate gratification and things do take time. So coming from somebody who actually does have a lot of time, you might be sitting back thinking, well, I don't want to take that time. But everything that is worth waiting for takes time.
It's extremely difficult. I'm surrounded by a lot of people who are quite a bit older than me, who own a lot of really, really nice things that, of course, any young, exactly. And then, of course, any young, entrepreneur would be attracted to. I'm surrounded by a lot of people who are my age, or maybe a few years older that have a lot of really nice things that I'm attracted to. So it makes it tough. But it also motivates me to do a lot better. So that's the last thing.
So you're saying you're kind of sacrificing some of those things that you want right now because you're thinking long term.
Exactly.
Oh, that's so smart. I mean, seriously, this is so great.
No, absolutely.
Thank you so much for being here.
No,
any lasting thoughts? Anything we didn't cover?
No, I think we pretty
so.
much got it.
I
Just
think
build
so,
the
too.
relationships, people.
Share this out. I mean, any tag people, definitely. Let us know if you have any questions. How can people get a hold of you?
So if anybody is interested in buying or selling real estate, needs help with business, pretty much anything at all, you can reach me by phone number. I'm always on my phone, 239-269-8084. I'd love to speak with you about whatever it is you're going through. So I look forward to that.
Awesome. You just got a lot of happy faces.
There we go.
Thanks so much.
Awesome.
Guys,
No,
have an
thank you.
awesome weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Boomer sooner.